Welcome to Secrets of NYC Schools. I'm Alina Adams, author of Getting into NYC Kindergarten and Getting into NYC High School. To make sure you never miss an episode or a last-minute school update, subscribe to our mailing list at www.nycschoolsecrets.com. Another week, another rezoning plan for the Upper West Side. Only it looks like this one is going to stick. There will be a public hearing today, November 14th, another one on November 21st, and I know they've promised this before, a final vote on November 22nd, which is pretty tight considering Kindergarten Connect opens on November 30th. What are they voting on? A plan that would drastically shrink the PS 199 zone and send the newly rezoned kids to PS 191, which is getting a new building. PS 452 would then be moved into the old PS 191 building and also get a new zone. All the other Upper West Side schools will remain where they are, but each zone will get a tweak, losing some blocks and adding others. What does it mean to you? It means many unhappy Upper West Side parents, especially those who picked their home precisely so they could attend a top-performing school. It also means that parents who at one time were perfectly content to stay at their general ed school will be testing their children for gifted and talented programs. Those applications, by the way, are due today. Make sure you use our exclusive calculator to determine your optimal test date. You need every advantage you can get because 2017 promises even more competition for G&T seats that are already pretty tough to score. It used to be that any result below a 95 pretty much meant you wouldn't get a district G&T seat. Wonder how high it will be this year. 97, 98? Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. It also means that the Upper West Side's extremely popular unzoned school, Manhattan School for Children, will likely see an uptick in applications. But they won't be adding any more seats, so again, the competition will just get stiffer. Same goes for the Upper West Side Success Academy, which, like MSC, does their admissions via lottery. Parents have been frantically calling me all week asking about their options. I've suggested checking out some of the smaller charters, such as Harlem Hebrew Charter School and the French American Charter School. There are also, of course, private schools, including the new Bases Manhattan, the relatively new Ideal School, and many established private schools, ranging from the traditional to the progressive and everything in between. There really is an embarrassment of riches on the Upper West Side. Contact me directly at alinaadams@gmail.com, and we can come up with a game plan specifically customized to your family's needs. In an earlier podcast, we talked with a dad who claimed that Upper West Side parents weren't adequately consulted prior to the rezoning, which was ostensibly done in order to both decrease overcrowding and diversify the area's top schools. District 2 parents who don't want the same thing happening to them are invited to a special Defining Diversity workshop tonight, Monday, November 14th, at the District 2 offices on 333 7th Avenue to ensure that their voices are heard. No RSVP necessary, just come on by. Meanwhile, we've got news about the District 2 middle school application process. For those of you applying to kindergarten who think you've got plenty of time to worry about this, trust me, it sneaks up on you sooner than expected. The Community Education Council for District 2 is helping to clarify the middle school admissions process by releasing the rubrics schools use to rank students. Which schools must you absolutely rank first in order to have any shot of getting in? Finally, find out that and more at the CETC2's website. Earlier, we addressed the fact that gifted and talented admissions will be more competitive than ever this year for kindergarten. But what about if you want to move your child for first, second, and third grade? When we come back, we'll hear from a Brooklyn mom who moved her daughter from a well-regarded Park Slope General Ed school into the Citywide accelerated Nest Plus M. She'll reveal how she pulled it off and how you can too. Stay tuned.
Noodle Pros Tutoring offers test prep, academic, and 2E support. We employ only professional tutors with a minimum of 10 years of experience. We are dedicated to helping you achieve your educational goals. Contact us at noodlepros.com for a free consultation.
Welcome back. If you think the odds are against you in applying to G&T for kindergarten, they're even worse for subsequent grades. Still, it is possible, but is it worth it? Is there really that much of a difference between general ed and citywide G&T? Should you uproot your child from a school where they're settled and happy? What about your other children? Is the application process different? Will it make your life needlessly complicated? And what will your child get out of it? A brave Brooklyn mom tells all. Listen in.
You just
switched your daughter from a well-regarded, high-performing general ed school into a citywide accelerated gifted school. Why did you choose to do that, and what was the process like?
So my daughter went to a great neighborhood school that we don't know if it's high-performing yet because it only goes to third grade, which is also part of its appeal. It's a new school, and it's growing. And we liked it a lot, and she did well there. But she definitely has a lot of ambition, and she's very motivated. And I felt like she could do more in a citywide gifted and talented school where that's really encouraged. She's pretty competitive, and I felt like she always wanted to be number one, and the idea of being around other kids like that I thought would be really good for her. And then she's been there since September in her citywide school, and it really has been good.
What was the process like in switching her? Because most people know the entry level at kindergarten. What's it like to switch for a higher grade?
It's the same process. She took the gifted and talented test. It was actually easier because they gave it at her actual school. We didn't have to take her anywhere on a weekend. They just pulled her out of class and gave her the test and sent her back to class.
Did you have to sign up for that, or does the school test everybody?
Yes. No, we had to sign up for that. And in fact, most of the parents I spoke to had no idea that the school would even offer the test. So it's definitely not something that's very well known. But it definitely made the process easier because the first time she took it in kindergarten, where she also scored well, but she didn't. She got a 97, which it qualified her, but it wasn't good enough to get her in, or to hit the lotto. And we had to take her somewhere. So this was much easier, and I think that we have 3 kids in our family. I think the easy factor definitely was part of why we retested her. I think if we had to take a Saturday and go somewhere and whatever, we might have just left her at a school that she enjoyed. So,
and once you got the qualifying score,
definitely a factor.
Once you got the qualifying score, did you again rank the schools? It's just like the kindergarten process, and then again it goes into a lottery?
Yes, exactly. We had looked at BSI in Brooklyn because we live in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. But then when I toured Nest, which is where she goes now, I really just found I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved it. It was a big, bright school. I liked all of their neighborhood initiatives that they do, and that they learn so much about New York. And I really enjoyed their entire curriculum.
So what do you see so far as the biggest difference between the general ed that she came from and the citywide gifted school that she's now in terms of what the kids are learning?
The biggest thing is they're definitely learning accelerated stuff at her new school. So that's, definitely interesting and important to us. But one of the biggest things to us is that she's rewarded for doing well. It's not like, oh, everybody did great. It's, you got them all right. Here's your gold star. And I feel like she's very motivated by that. And again, we have 3 kids, and I can't say that her younger brother is like that. He's very like, I got them mostly right, but she needs to get them all right, and she needs the pat on the head, and she's getting that at her new school in a way that I don't think she was getting in a place where they try to kind of, make everybody feel good about it, which is fine, and definitely something I think my son's going to need, but something that really I feel like wasn't working for her.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned your sons, because my next question was going to be, were you concerned that when you moved her into a citywide, if your other children don't qualify for a citywide, then you have 2 kids or 3 kids in 3 different schools, and also the school that she was in, so many Park Slope schools have wait lists. Were you concerned that you might have sort of given up your sibling spot for your sons when you moved your daughter to a different school?
I really wasn't, because our zone school is it's a small school, but the zone is also pretty small. And while it's become a very popular school, and people in the district have been sending their kids, they still have all the spots for the kids in the zone. So I don't know. I guess I thought I'll deal with that when the time comes. I'll fight for a spot for him, because I just think like it's, if you're zoned for a school, you should be able to go there, and that's, up to the school to figure it out. So yeah, I definitely,
I was going to say, what about transportation issues? You know, you're in Brooklyn. She's at a school on the Lower East Side. If you have another kid in Brooklyn, did you give that any thought?
Yeah. Yes. We've given it, it's, you know, my son is 3, so he's not taking the test until next year. And again, I think he's a very smart kid, but he's just not, like, it killed her that she got a 97. Like, we didn't care at all. And she was like, I mean, devastated. And we told her she did amazing on the first time. And she was like, no, I have to retake that. I have to get them all right. And literally she's still like, can I take it again this year? Because I think 99. I'm like, no, that's the highest score you can get. You're already in the school. But my son, I just feel like is going to be like, I don't know, I got an 89. You know, I think that's great, or whatever. You know, so I don't know if he ends up doing well on it and going to her school, that would obviously be better for me. I would love to take all my kids to one school and pick them up from one school, but we do recognize that kids are different and they need different things, and he might like going to the great neighborhood school that, you know, kind of is a more nurturing place.
So I hear you saying that the sort of the atmosphere was a better fit for your daughter. So do you think that a certain type of child will do particularly well at a Citywide?
Yeah, I think driven is the key thing. That's what my husband and I always refer to her as. She's very driven in a way that, like, my husband and I just aren't. And, you know, like, she's just very, like, the need to succeed with her is so strong. And I think it's super nurtured at a Citywide school because she's around other very driven kids like her. You meet these kids and they're all, like, independently learning their own stuff, and it's in a way that parents like us, I mean, we can guide her and help her, but in an environment around other kids who are also doing the same thing and a teacher who is encouraging that, it's been great.
Well, let me ask you this. You talk about how the kids are all doing sort of their own independent things, which suggests that a lot of the kids have very different interests and different skills.
Yeah.
How does a teacher work with a class full of kids who might all be accelerated, but accelerated in different things and with different interests? How does a teacher make that work?
Yeah, you know, I think that there's just times of the day where they get to explore their own interests, but in general, they do focus on, like, you know, if math is not your interest, you still have to do math. It's not like, you know, you don't get that much space for your own stuff, but they definitely give them time to develop their own things. And they also do guide them into interests that they think that they would like chess. They have chess, you know, as a mandatory subject. And it turns out a lot of these driven, interested kids are super into chess. So, yeah, so I think they definitely move them in the direction that they want to go, and also give them space to develop their own stuff.
You said that your daughter was the one who actually wanted to take again. Did you get her prepped in any way, and would you recommend that other parents prep their kids for the test?
We didn't prep her. We bought 2 books on Amazon and ran through them like the weeks before the test. We're not again, there's so many kids here. We're not a very organized family. So it was basically like, oh my God, you have to test again in 2 weeks. And we would just sit with her and go through the books. But we didn't do any other prep. But again, my son, he's 3, so my predictions of how he'll do or how he, you know, what kind of kid he is are very limited. But I think when it does come time for him to take it next year, I am going to get him some prep classes because I do want him to take the test more seriously than she took it, even though she ended up taking it seriously on her own. But I want him, just for ease, that if he can get into a school like this with a little bit more effort, we'd like for him to do it to make it easy on the family and have our kids all go to the same school. And he loves her school. He loves visiting it, and he's like, this place is amazing. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen Big Hero 6, but it's the older brother goes to like this crazy science college, and the younger brother visits him and calls it the nerd school. And that's sort of become the joke in our house. Like, our daughter goes to the nerd school, and, you know, our son loves visiting her there.
Thank you so much. We really appreciated you taking the time to share your experiences and to help out other parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love being on.
So that was the difference between General Ed and Citywide Gifted. To hear about a district G&T versus General Ed, check out last week's podcast, where a mom from Queens shares her experience. And if you've got a question to ask me in person, make sure you register for my Gifted and Talented workshop this Thursday, November 17th at Evolution Enrichment. The link is on my website, www.nycschoolsecrets.com, under Workshops open to the public. I'm Alina Adams, author of Getting into NYC Kindergarten and Getting into NYC High School. We'll talk more next week.